Hello, fellow time travelers. Welcome back to another dive into the shadows of the past, where empires rise on the edge of a blade. Did you know that the Mongols didn't just defeat armies? They erased entire civilizations from the map, with up to 90% of some populations vanishing like smoke in the wind, leaving historians to puzzle over the ghosts in ancient records. Imagine hordes thundering across vast steppes, wielding not only bows and swords, but the raw power of fear itself. Crafting tactics so ruthless they still echo in military playbooks today. In this video, we'll uncover 5 shocking conquest methods that turned the Mongol Empire into a machine of terror, blending brutal efficiency with psychological mastery to conquer a quarter of the world. If you're hooked on these untold stories, hit that subscribe button for echoes of the past and turn on notifications. Let's keep unraveling history together. Let's set the stage, friends. Picture the early 13th century, a fractured world of kingdoms and city-states, from the frozen forests of Russia to the sun-baked deserts of the Middle East. Enter Temujin, better known as Genghis Khan, a man forged in the harsh winds of the Mongolian steppes. Orphaned young, he united warring tribes through sheer will, cunning alliances, and a code called the Yasa that demanded absolute loyalty. By 1206, he was proclaimed the Great Khan, and what followed was a whirlwind of conquest that built the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from China to Eastern Europe. But how did a nomadic people, outnumbered in nearly every battle, achieve this? It wasn't just superior horsemanship or composite bows that could pierce armor from 300 yards away. No, the secret lay in psychological warfare, a deliberate strategy to break the enemy's spirit before the first arrow flew. Genghis spread rumors of his invincibility, exaggerating atrocities to sow dread far ahead of his armies. Surrender meant mercy and integration. Resistance invited oblivion. As Persian historian Juvayni noted in his History of the World Conqueror, the Mongols turned terror into an art form, making cities crumble from within. And now, let's peel back the layers on those 5 brutal tactics that shocked the world. Our first tactic hits hard. In regions that dared resist, up to 90% of the population simply disappeared from historical records. This wasn't random slaughter. It was calculated depopulation to eliminate future threats and repopulate with loyal subjects. Take the Khwarezmian Empire in modern-day Iran and Central Asia. In 1219, after their Shah murdered Mongol envoys, Genghis unleashed fury. Cities like Merv, once a jewel of the Silk Road, with over 1 million souls, were besieged and sacked. Eyewitness accounts from Persian chroniclers paint a nightmarish scene. Mongol troops herded survivors onto plains and methodically executed them, with each soldier tasked to kill hundreds. Juvayni described the ground soaked in blood, bodies piled like hills. Modern estimates suggest 10 to 15 million died across Iran alone, nearly 90% in some areas, as refugees fled and famine followed. Imagine a merchant in Merv, let's call him Ahmad, based on survivor tales, hiding in his cellar as screams echo outside, whispering prayers while wondering if his family survived the call. Subtly, we can envision his heart pounding, the air thick with dust and despair, heightening the terror without straying from facts. This tactic ensured no rebellions sprouted from the ashes, turning fertile lands into empty pastures for Mongol horses. But was it genocide? Historians like John Joseph Saunders argue, yes, a deliberate erasure of cultures. What if such emptiness hid deeper motives, like reshaping the world in their nomadic image? Moving to our second tactic, the Mongols perfected visible horror through skull pyramids, towering warnings that could be seen for miles. This wasn't mere barbarity, it was psychological theater, designed to paralyze neighbors into submission. In 1240, during the invasion of Kiev and Rus, Bata Khan Genghis's grandson stormed Kiev after a brutal siege. Accounts from Russian chronicles and European friars, like Roger of Tormajori, described the aftermath. Thousands beheaded, their skulls stacked into massive pyramids, gleaming under the winter sun. Picture this: a scout from a nearby city rides up, his horse skittish, only to behold these bony spires casting long shadows. In his mind, drawing from real accounts, he freezes, imagining the faces of the dead staring back, a silent scream urging surrender. This happened repeatedly. In Nishapur, in 1221, after the death of Genghis's son-in-law, the Mongols built 3 separate pyramids for men, women, and children, even slaying animals to complete the desolation. Marco Polo later recounted similar sites, noting how they deterred resistance. The strategy worked. Word spread like wildfire, cities opening gates without a fight. But here's the suspense. Were these pyramids just intimidation? Or did they mask a ritualistic side, honoring ancestors through enemy defeat? It keeps you wondering. Now, the third tactic, the utter destruction of Baghdad in 1258. So devastating, it ended the Islamic Golden Age in a river of blood and ink. Hulagu Khan, another grandson, besieged the city for weeks, bombarding it with trebuchets, hurling fire and stones. When the walls fell, a week of carnage ensued. 800,000 to 2 million slain, including the caliph, rolled in a carpet and trampled by horses to avoid spilling royal blood. A Mongol superstition. Eyewitnesses like the poet Sadi described streets piled with corpses, the Tigris running black from destroyed libraries' ink and red from blood. The House of Wisdom, a beacon of knowledge, was razed, its scholars slaughtered. Envision a librarian, inspired by real accounts, clutching a precious manuscript as flames roar closer. His final thoughts, a mix of defiance and despair, adding that human touch to the horror. This wasn't just conquest, it was cultural genocide, wiping out intellectual hubs to prevent revival. Psychologically, it shattered Muslim morale, as one chronicler lamented it as Islam's greatest calamity. But ponder this: did Hulagu target Baghdad for its defiance? Or was there a hidden grudge against its caliph's insults? The mystery lingers. Our fourth tactic chills the bone, using captured civilians as human shields, compelling defenders to slay their own or yield. Called Khwarezm in Mongol terms, this was siege warfare at its most diabolical. During the conquest of China in the 1230s, against the Jin dynasty, Mongols drove prisoners ahead of their lines, bound and terrified as they approached walls. Chinese records detail the agony, archers on the battlements hesitating, arrows trembling in their bows as screams from kin below pierced the air. One can subtly imagine a soldier spotting his sister in the throng, his resolve cracking like ice, rooted in historical testimonies to amp up the emotional stakes. This forced moral dilemmas, breaking spirits faster than any catapult. In Europe, during the 1241 invasion of Hungary, similar tactics sowed chaos. The genius, it conserved Mongol lives while amplifying terror. What if this tactic revealed a deeper understanding of human psychology, exploiting bonds to conquer without full engagement? Finally, the fifth, not random violence, but targeted elimination of educated classes, religious leaders, and key figures to cripple recovery. While craftsmen were often spared for their utility, relocated to Mongol capitals like Karakorum, the elite were hunted. In Baghdad, scholars and imams were systematically killed. In Russia, princes executed en masse. Rashid al-Din's chronicles reveal this precision. Mongols interrogated captives, sparing artisans, but beheading nobles and clerics to sever leadership. Picture a captured scholar in Baghdad, based on friar accounts, kneeling as interrogators probe his role, his mind racing with unspoken prayers, a fictional whisper of fear to draw you in. This prevented uprisings, as seen in the long subjugation of Persia. It was empire building through void, ensuring loyalty from the ground up. But could this selectivity hint at admiration for certain skills, or was it pure pragmatism? The most shocking twist. These tactics didn't fade, they inspired modern warfare. Military strategists today study Mongol psyops, false retreats, rumor campaigns, and terror as deterrents. From World War II propaganda to asymmetric conflicts, echoes abound. Think how fear shapes strategies in places like Vietnam or the Middle East. Sun Tzu's influence on Genghis lives on. In wrapping up, these 5 tactics reveal the Mongols as brutal innovators, blending savagery with strategy to forge an empire from fear. They teach us about power's dark side, how terror can conquer minds before bodies. But could such methods resurface in our world of drones and cyber wars? Was there an untapped mercy in their code, or just cold calculation? What do you think? Would you surrender to the horde or fight, knowing the cost? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to Echoes of the Past for more gripping tales. Like and share to spread the history. See you in the next era.